AJAX has been around a long time. Microsoft first introduced it in 1999 with Internet Explorer 5. Back then, it wasn't called AJAX, and in fact, AJAX isn't really its official name. Technically, it's called an XML HTTP request object. It's sometimes shortened to just XHR. Put simply, AJAX is the process of using JavaScript to send a request to a web server, receive a response back, and then do something with that response. What you send to the web server with AJAX can be a simple request for a web page, a text file, a search sent to a database, or a complete form full of information. Let's look at a simple example. Say you wanted to let someone sign up for your website's newsletter. The sign-up process should be simple, painless, and most importantly, fast. So you add a little sign up button to the home page. When the visitor clicks the button, a form slides down. When the visitor fills out the form and hits the submit button, the page doesn't disappear, and the visitor isn't taken away to another web page. Instead, and here's the AJAX part, the sign-up information is sent to the server, which processes that in some way. For example, adds the email address to a database. Then the server sends back a response. This might be a simple message like success or email added. The page then displays a message to the visitor like, you're all signed up. Although the term AJAX isn't any official technology, it's a lot easier to pronounce than XML HTTP request object. It's also a good way to think about how this technology works. Let's start with the J in AJAX, since that's the easiest to understand. JavaScript is the programming language you use to make all this AJAX stuff happen. You use JavaScript to send out an AJAX request, you use JavaScript to process the incoming response, and you use JavaScript to update your web page. The first A is for asynchronous and refers to how the request is sent to the web server. When a web browser makes an AJAX request, it doesn't stop everything it's doing and just wait for a response. That would freeze your browser, and you wouldn't be able to do anything until the response came back. If the server ever did send a response, sometimes they don't. Asynchronous requests are sent without waiting. The user can keep mousing around the web page. Your JavaScript program will keep running, and only when the response comes back from the web server will your program do something with it. In fact, you can send out multiple AJAX requests, and even though you send each request one after another, you won't know which request will come back first. The speed of the server, the complexity of the request, and any internet traffic all play a part in determining when a request returns information to the browser. The X in AJAX stands for XML, or Extensible Markup Language. XML also appears in the official name for this technology, XML HTTP Request Object. Originally, XML was seen as the format server responses should be sent in, but it's not the only format you can receive data in. In fact, as we'll see in the next stage, it's not even the most common or preferred format any longer. You use JavaScript to prepare a request, send it, and process the response. You can break the AJAX programming process into 4 steps. First, create an XML HTTP request object. This step tells the web browser to get ready. You want to send an AJAX request, and the web browser needs to create an object that has all the methods you'll need to send and receive data. 2. Define a callback function. This is the programming you want to run when the server returns its response. The callback is where you process the returned data and update the HTML on the page. In the case of Google Maps, for example, the callback function updates the map on the screen after the server sends new map tiles to the browser. Third, open a request. In this step, you give the browser 2 pieces of information. The method the browser will use to send the request, usually either GET or POST, and the URL where the request is sent. 4. Send the request. The last step is finally sending off the request. The previous 3 steps gave the web browser all the information it needs, so we can finally send off the request to the web server. All right, it's time to program. In the next video, I'll take you through a working example of a simple AJAX request.